All right, everybody, what is going on? We got some news here on JP Dokkan last night, and I just woke up, got the Calcs done. We're going to go over it. So we got Gohan and Piccolo. They are the next Dokkan Fest unit. We got info about them in the, we got the announcement that they were coming during the Breakers stream, and then they tweeted it out last night. So I'm just getting it up. It's a nice Saturday morning here. So let's go ahead and break this down. So STR Piccolo and Gohan slash Gohan Kids, they do have a revive and exchange. This is their leader skill, Bond to Master and Disciple, or Saiyan Saga, and then their 30% extra is to Earthbred Fighters. This is very similar to the Int Kid Gohan's leader skill. You know, Int Kid Gohan, he gives a flat 200% to Bond to Master and Disciple, like the Carnival Kid Gohan. But like most Bond to Master and Disciple characters, other than like maybe Beerus, Whis, Vados, Champa, characters like that, right? Kaba, are on the Earthbred Fighters category. So for the most part, this is a very similar leader skill. But you know, it is what it is. And then most of the Saiyan Saga characters are also on like Bond to Master and Disciple. So this actually has quite a bit of overlap, which is interesting. But regardless, I mean, this is a decent leader skill. You can do something with this. Their 12 key super attack is greatly raised. That is a 50% attack and defense raise for one turn, and they cause immense damage to the enemy. The passive skill, key +2, attack and defense 150% at the start of turn. They raise attack up to 150% based on the HP remaining. The less HP, the greater the boost. They get an additional 100% attack and defense when performing a super attack. That's good. That's a multiplicative buff. When HP is 70% or above, when receiving an attack as the first or second attacker in the turn, reduces damage received by 40%. So that should work like Tech Merge Zamasu, I believe, where once you put them in slot 1, like when they actually receive the attack, then they will get that 40% damage reduction, I believe. So it'll actually be active before they actually take the hit, I believe, but we will see. At worst case scenario, it's, you know, after they receive the attack, but I think it's just like Merge Zamasu, right? When receiving an attack as the first or second attacker. So that's good, you know, 40% damage reduction. We like that. Then they are a support unit, Bond to Master and Disciple, or Saiyan Saga category allies, key +2, attack and defense 30%. That means for characters that are on both categories, like this one, they will be giving 4 key and 60% attack and defense total. The way this works is those actually stack together. Due to like, because it says or, so that's how that works right there. So they'll actually be giving themselves 4 key and 60% attack and defense at the start of turn, in addition to this 2 key. So they're going to be starting out with 6 key and 210% attack and defense at the start of turn, which is, you know, pretty good. And then if you decide to float them, you know, as the third attacker in the turn, they give an additional key. So now they'll potentially be giving themselves 7 and their allies 5 key, which is, again, really good, and an additional 30% attack and defense to all superclass allies. So they'll be giving like a total of 90% support if, you know, you're on Bond to Master and Disciple, Saiyan Saga, and a superclass ally. You'll be getting 90% attack and defense support from these guys, and what is it, 3 key? Or no, I'm sorry, 5 key. So that is really good. So again, this is a start of turn buff for themselves as well. So again, really good. They're starting out with a ton of key. They have 2 key here, 4 key here, and then another key here. So what is that? 2, 6, 7 key. They're starting out with 7 key at the start of turn before they even get their leader skill buff. So if you're running them on a leader, right, they're going to be starting out with 13 key, which they can't even use, right? They cap out at 12. So that's going to be really, really good for this unit. That means they're going to be good for like burst mode. You know, burst mode always has that condition of like -3 key or whatever to all units. That means this unit is basically going to be unaffected by that. So that's really good. And then when HP is 70% or below at the start of turn, or from the 7th turn from the start of battle, if this character or an ally attacking the same turn is KO'd, exchange into Gohan Kid and recover 70% HP. So that's pretty good. This is a good revival condition, under 70% HP or from the 7th turn. We like that. That means that you can get this potentially on like turn 1 in Super Battle Road. You could like chain it together, or like if you get them in slot 2, or not slot 2, but like if you get them in turn 2, in slots 4, 5, and 6, you could potentially use this on their first appearance. Like if you're going up against Merge Zamasu, you get clapped up in the first phase, you could exchange with them immediately. So that's good. And then also from the 7th turn. So potentially, you know, this could happen later on in the fight. Their links are Gaze of Respect, Demonic Ways, Cold Judgment, Brainiac, Z Fighters, End Fighter, and Fierce Battle. This is not a great link set overall. I think they should link the best with Physical Piccolo. They for sure share Cold Judgment and Brainiacs with him, which is good. And then like there's a few characters that you can get like Gaze of Respect and Demonic Ways with, so it's not the worst ever. And then these are their categories down here. And then they do exchange right into Kid Gohan. So there's Kid Gohan, and then they exchange into that. First though, let's go over the calcs for Gohan and Piccolo here. Here we go. Where do we? Yeah, right here. This is where we start. Hang on, let me scoot this down a little bit. There we go. Okay, so Gohan and Piccolo. So we got quite a few scenarios here for them. Just because, like, I wanted to do... So right here, this is their linked with Physical Piccolo, and then this is theoretically if they have all of their links active. So those are the two different scenarios that we have going. And then right here on this side is going to be if they're in slot 1 or 2, and then this is if they're in slot 3. You know, they get that extra 30% attack and defense, so that's why, that's the only difference here is like this line basically. Like between these two sides, this line is the only thing different. And then between like this top part and this bottom part, the only thing different is the links. So essentially what's going on here, they have 11,605 defense at the start of turn. You guys can see that's their base stat right there, 7,005. And then STR units get 4,602 stats. And then 55% you get 2,000. So that's what's going on here. And then you multiply by 5 for the 200% leader skill. You're going to multiply by 1.4 or, you know, just 1 point whatever for however many links active. You can see this little summary I have for their links over here. So they have Gaze of Respect, Demonic Ways, Cold Judgment, and Brainiacs. So max possible defense that they can get from links is 60%, and then you can kind of mix and match, you know, whichever ones you think you'll have active. I made these yellow and blue. Blue was for AGL Kid Gohan, yellow was for Physical Piccolo, just for, like, my own reference. I was just kind of matching up and making sure that, you know, there was a character, like, that there are characters that potentially you could get all of their links active with, so that was just for me. That's what that color coding means. But essentially, however, like whatever percentage you want to have for their links active, like if you want to do 20%, then you would do 1.2. If you want to have 35%, you would do 1.35, 1.4, etc. Right? So that's what you're going to do there. They get 210% at the start of turn. Again, that's the 150% that they get at the start of turn, plus the 60% support. And then over here, it is 240% because they get an extra 30% in slot 3. So that is what is going on there. So we multiply by 3.1 or 3.4. They get 100% on super attack from their passive. So then we multiply this number by 2. And then they get 50% on each super attack that they do. So we multiply this number by 1.5 for one super attack. And if they double super, we multiply this number by 2. So that is what is going on there. Looks like they can get up to about 1 million defense. And again, this is no support with 40% damage reduction in slot 1. So obviously 250k defense in slot 1 is not super crazy. But, you know, you could make it work, potentially, just depending on how many attacks are there. And worst case scenario, right, you have to float them off and give everybody else the extra 30% attack and defense support, which is nice, right? So, and of course, this is going to get higher as we have, like, support on rotation. Down here, this would be, theoretically, if you could get all of their links active with, like, no support on rotation. So it's the exact same numbers, except for right here, we're getting 1.6 instead of 1.4. And you can see they get up to, like, 1.1 million defense over here, or 1.2 in slot 3, if you double super. So I would say most of the time, since they don't have built-in additionals, you're only going to be seeing one super attack out of them. So really only pay attention to, like, this one super attack line right here. That's probably more commonly what you're going to see. But I do think that they're decent. And then down here, we're going to move into a section where we're actually going to have support active here. So this time, we're going to have 50% active in links, and we're going to have 77% support. If you're wondering, like, where the support numbers are coming from, essentially, we have, like, Bulma, because this unit is on, like, Yamcha's team, right? So Earthbred Fighters and Earthlings, all that good stuff, right? Or I believe they're on, you know, Yamcha's 200% or somebody's 200%, right? So anyway, we can get Bulma on a team with them, so we can get 37% from her. Int Piccolo, the LR World Tournament EZA gives 40% support, and then AGL Kid Gohan can give 58. So there's a couple different scenarios that we have going for the support. So up here we have 77%. This is going to be you're getting Bulma's support, like off rotation. You know, she gives the 2-turn support, so you can have it even if she's not on rotation. And then you have Int Piccolo on rotation and Physical Piccolo for links. So that's what's going on here. And then down here, it's 95% because it's AGL Kid Gohan, and then Bulma off rotation, right? So we have all links active because Physical Piccolo and AGL Kid Gohan activate all 60% in links. AGL Kid Gohan gives 58% support, and then we have Bulma off rotation giving an additional 37% support for a total of 95% support right here. So that's essentially the two scenarios that we have going. Is up here, we have 77% support and 50% on links. And right here, we have, again, 50% in links and 77% support, but in slot 3, so we get an extra 30%. And you guys can see they're getting up to like 1,000,000 defense on super attack in these scenarios, so that is pretty good. And their starter turn's a little bit better as well. You know, 336 and 362, or even like 403, depending on the rotation. I guess this isn't possible, though, is it? Like, I can't have them sandwiched between them and be in slot 3. So I guess, like, these scenarios are technically impossible. But, whatever. It doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. This is technically impossible. Okay, my bad. I forgot what was going on here. This is my fault. This is incorrect. Let me make a tweet real quick. All right, so yeah, disregard these right here because you can't have a unit in between 2 units and then have them also in slot 3. So just ignore those. But still, if we look over here, right, like they're going to be looking fine. I guess we could adjust this to say what do they have with Physical Piccolo again? They have these. They have 40%. So we could just adjust this on the fly to be 40%. And then we could adjust this to be, we'll just do also 40% on this one as well. Okay, so we'll adjust this to 0.4. Then we can just copy that and paste. There we go. Okay, so now this is more correct right here. So yeah, there we go. So the links here are just with Physical Piccolo. There we go. Let's do that. Copy. Okay. There we go. That's a little bit more correct right there. So let me go ahead and snip that, and we'll get that updated on the Twitter. Here we go. Right here. Let's see. This would be more correct. All right, there we go. Okay. So yeah, anyway, but you guys can see, right, like the numbers that they're getting up to. You don't need me to walk through all of this. Okay, and so then right down here, we have Gohan after you exchange with him, right? So on this left side is going to be his first appearance, and then over here is going to be his second appearance. Let's talk about his kit for just a second before we look at that, though. So now he massively raises attack and defense on super attack, which is a 100% raise, 150% at the start of turn, 100% when performing a super attack, plus an additional 100% when HP is 58% or above, whatever. You know, that's just attack. We don't worry about that here. For 1 turn, he gets 12 key, 300% attack and defense, and performs a critical hit when performing a super attack. So this will add into this previous buff right here that is on super attack. So he'll be getting a total of 400% defense on super attack here. From the 3rd turn from first appearance onwards, attacks effective against all types. Superclass allies key +2. Great chance to perform a critical hit when there's a pure sand category enemy. And when there is an ally whose name includes Goku on the team, evades enemy attacks, including super attacks for 1 turn. And from the 3rd turn from first appearance onward, high chance to evade enemy attacks. So if you have a Goku on the team, which on their team is not going to be very common, but on like Yamcha's team you can get, they get this nice dodge chance. So that is good. So let's look at this right here. So the calcs that we have going, so it's essentially going to be the same thing as above, but right here, this line is going to be different. So over here, we're going to be getting 400% on super attack. Over here, we're going to get 100%. because on first appearance they get that extra 300% attack and defense boost, right? So that's where that extra 300% is coming from. And then right here, on every turn afterwards, they're only getting 100%. But you guys can see, right, that they're still getting up to some decent attack and defense numbers, like right here. So, yeah, I mean, that's good. I mean, that's the effect of getting 100% attack and defense on super attack. Um, so that is obviously very, very good. And you can see 3 million defense on turn 1 is absolutely insane. 3.48, all this stuff. So, again, this is really good. So essentially, this follows the same pattern as earlier, where we are getting different amounts of links active here between these two. So yeah, you guys can see that right there. And then down here is going to be with support. And this time, this stuff does apply right here. Because we can put them in the middle of all these units, right? So again, they can get up to like 4.8 million defense potentially on their first turn. Like this is insane, right? Like that first turn of Kid Gohan is going to be absolutely insane. He does peter out. Like this is going to be every turn after. But still, getting up to 1 million defense with the dodge chance potentially is going to be pretty good. So let me know what you guys think about Kid Gohan here. We do have one other unit in this celebration, if I can get them pulled back up here. Here's the Dokkan Wiki. We got this, like, what is it? Vegeta and, what is it? What's his name? Vegeta and Nappa. That's who we got here. So this is a Vegeta and Nappa that we got right here. Terrifying Conquerors. Who cares about the leader skill? Attack and defense 30% for one turn. It greatly lowers attack and defense. Passive skill is 150% at the start of turn. Additional 80% when performing a super attack. That's just attack, though. They get an additional key +1 up to 4, and attack and defense 30% up to 120 with each attack performed. Launches an additional attack that has a great chance to become a super attack. Attacks effective against all types when there's an enemy in the attack down or defense down status. 30% damage reduction is the third attacker in the turn, and guaranteed guard if there's another Pure Saiyan or Terrifying category, or if it's Pure Saiyans or Terrifying Conquerors category ally in the same turn. So pretty good. I mean, you could just run them as like a floating, like, unit, right? Like, just run them as a floater, and they could be fine because they're going to be guarding with 30% damage reduction. So they could be decent as like a floater, and then they are going to build up pretty quickly, right? Because they're doing at least 2 attacks in their super attack here, and this is, or I'm sorry, they're doing 2 attacks in their passive, and they have a great chance to be a super attack, which is nice. Well, I'm sorry, the first one, was the first one. Like, you either get the super attack or you don't, like with your key. But then the second one for the passive right here is 70% chance, so that's pretty good. So at bare minimum, on your first appearance, you're going to get half of this built up, which is nice because it's with attacks performed and not super attacks, so that's really nice. Let's go ahead and go look at their calcs, though. I didn't go too crazy with these. So on the left side here is basically their first turn, what's going to happen as they build up. And then this is once they fully built up, what's going to be happening. So essentially, like, these first sections right here are going to be the same. And then down here, I just slapped on 40% support. I don't know who you're getting 40% support with, but, whatever. I chose to link them with AGL, Vegeta, and Nappa, so they share tough as nails and over 9,000, so that's 30% defense, plus a little bit of damage reduction, which is nice. They get that 150% at the start of turn. That's what you're seeing right here. And then they get 30% every time they attack from their passive, and then they get 30% from their super attack effect. So essentially what I've shown right here is they get 30%. Like, this is essentially doing 3 super attacks on your first turn, which is like best case scenario, right? So you would get 30% defense from your passive and 30% defense from your super attack effect on your first attack. You would get 60% and 60% on your second super attack, and then 90% and 90% on your third super attack. So essentially, this is what would be happening as you're building up. And then these are like the direct buffs right here is like 69%, 156%, and then 261%, right? So that's essentially what is happening here. So you guys can see, like, if I was to take this and multiply by 1.69, right, which is the same as doing... right, okay, I don't know if I showed you. So yeah, we're doing 1.3 times 1.3, 1.6 times 1.6, and 1.9 times 1.9. And essentially that's the same as going equals this times 2.56. Oh, I'm sorry. Equals this times 2.56, and then equals this times 3.61. There we go. So you can see, right, it's the same. So I just wanted to put, like, the actual buffs that they were getting right here. So instead of putting and then I also put like the 30 by 30. So I'm probably not making much sense talking about this. Like I know what's happening, and me trying to convey it to you is not very good. But essentially, like the true buff that they're getting from doing one super attack is 69%. The true buff that they're getting on super attack for doing two super attacks on their first turn, again, this is all on their first turn. They don't have any other build up. The true buff that they're getting is 156%, and then the true buff from doing three is 261% is what they're getting. So, yeah, and so that's again 30 by 30, 60 by 60, and 90 by 90, and you can see right that all works out. But anyway, the easier one to look at is over here. This is if they're fully built up. So what you would see start a turn is actually this right here. Is this line right here. So you would see those, and then you would just do 30% on each super attack. So, moral of the story here is this unit is going to be decent as like a floater in slot 3. Because even with their guard active, right, like guard in 657, like that's not like the craziest ever, and that's assuming a triple super attack, which isn't going to be very common. I would say a double super attack with this unit is decently common. So, it's like they're going to be looking okay, like at the rainbow level. So, I mean, there is that. But you guys, let me know what you think about this Vegeta and Nappa. I think they're okay. Like, honestly, I think they're fine. Like, there's nothing too crazy going on with them. Sorry I'm not explaining this very well, but again, it's just essentially what happens if you get a triple super attack on your first turn. And then over here is just the easy one to look at. This is if you're fully built up. So let me know what you guys think about this Gohan and Vegeta and Nappa. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Not sure if I'm going to get another video out today. I might just relax and, chill because, I don't know. It's like, it's going so hard during the worldwide celebration. And a lot of the stuff that's out right now just doesn't, like, interest me very much. Like, I don't really want to go do showcases on, like, Launch and Oolong and stuff. So, I mean, it's like, I'm kind of just chilling at the moment, right? Calm before the storm. Just trying to enjoy my weekends and stuff right now. So, you guys should be doing the same, just play other games. That's what I'm doing, grinding out a bunch of other games that I've missed this year. I could stream. I might. We'll see. But I'm kind of just chilling right now. So, again, let me know what you guys think about these guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.